Okay, so
Hold on.
the moment has arrived. I give to you all Prince Ben. Ben Avram. He's a student of mine at the Ailey School.
Yes.
And oh my God, I've known him since he was 10. Now
Yeah.
he's 17.
Almost 17, yeah. It's been a
Thank
while.
God, almost. That means I'm almost not as old as I thought I was. So obviously, I was talking to your mother.
Yes.
And we were just talking about your shoulder injury.
Right.
First of all, did you feel it?
When it first happened?
No, like as it was coming on, because we were talking about like the signs. Was there any indication, or was it just?
It actually happened out of nowhere one night walking into her room where I normally dance. I always dance in her room as she's in her room. And I kind of walked in, I said, there's something wrong with my shoulder. And it, was really painful moving, forward and sideways.
Right.
And I sat out the next day at school, and then I went and got it checked out the day after that. And I was out of dance afterwards for about 6 weeks.
And what was your mother's relationship to your injury and you at that time?
Yeah, it was different than I'm sure than most parents with their injuries because of how, used to injuries it has been. So she's been really good with making sure that I've been taking care of it, not just letting it sit. And what I was doing was I was just letting it rest and kind of being very passive with it. Mm-hmm. She found it important for me to go out and get the physical therapy immediately and be very proactive with all the reconstruction with my shoulder that I needed to have done.
And tell me again what you told me, what you realized after your shoulder injury about dance.
I wanted to be a dancer. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, but the idea that you couldn't for a while because you were out for.
And I've always taken for granted the fact that I could dance. I mean, it's always been something I've done at home, I've done at school, I've done at Ailey, and then sitting there at Ailey watching people dance was the hardest thing that I've ever had to have. The hardest moment of my life was sitting at Ailey watching everyone dance and just sitting there, and I was kind of doing it with my feet, and my arm was in a sling, so there was very, very, very limited mobility that I wanted to, but I just really couldn't.
And so you got it that you really this is serious, and it's a big moment for you to decide like, oh my God, this is what I want to do.
I've always said I wanted to be a dancer, and I've always meant it, but then it really came and connected with me once I was out of dance, when I wasn't able to dance.
I mean, I hate to say that with injury, but sometimes we do. We get very clear once once something is taken away, we realize how important it is, and then we go like, okay, this is
something bad things are always the best things to happen.
How did let's switch gears a little bit and talk about how your mother's condition affected you. Because how old were you when your mother started to have the headaches?
I feel like I was about 12.
Okay, so you're about 12.
13.
So how did that affect you? Because one moment she's a part of the family unit, and the next
all of a sudden
she's withdrawn, right?
It was right around a time in my life where I was getting more independent. I was hanging out with my friends more. So it was easier for me than it was for my sister. It didn't hit me as hard as it did for my sister because my sister needed a mother. I was at the point where I was, I was more, consumed with my friends. But at the same time, I did know that she was at home and she wasn't feeling well, and it really brought the family closer together. And I would, every day, I would always be thinking about her, and I would know to go into her room, and I would dance, and that would make her happy. And my focus and what I really wanted in life was like everything was kind of changing, and I realized how important it was not just to make myself happy, but to make other people happy, and to know that behind these closed doors, my mom was in severe pain.
But they pretty much tried to shield you and your sister from the severity.
Yes, absolutely.
Of what was going on.
Yeah, and they did a very good job of it, actually. What I found really interesting was I'm reading this book only now. Mm-hmm. I wasn't allowed to. My mom always told me I wasn't allowed to read the book till I was 18. I just, I bought it on my phone the other day, or a few weeks ago.
Gadgets.
Yeah. And so now reading it, I remember, instances in the book, but I remember them in such different contexts. Right. I remember there's one point in the book where we're in the car going out to Long Island, and my mom is in the backseat lying down, and she's having a very, very bad pain spike. This is earlier in the development of her neck pains, but it's right in the beginning where she wasn't used to it and was having a lot of trouble in the car ride out to our country house. And I remember getting out of the car, and my uncle was there, and he was just extremely nice to me. I remember I had a lot of fun with him. He would walk me. That's all I remember. That's what I remember. Oh my God, my mom was in pain, but my uncle showed me the boat. You know, I was able to
diversion.
I could drive the Vespa.
Right.
You know, it was a lot of fun. And then reading the book, you know, it's black and white, because what was really happening was my mom was going into physical shock, and it was just like what my family did to cover up, make sure I was still happy, and didn't scar me from the truth. But
now on the back end, what does that do? I mean, you must have an incredible amount of appreciation and respect for your mother, because you have no idea, and you really shouldn't have, because that was, you were in a different point. That wasn't for you to necessarily know the gruesome details or the severity of it. But now, as you're reading this and learning more, because now you're an adult, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, mother just said she's an adult.
Yeah.
What does that do to you as a young man, as you look at your mother?
It makes me rethink everything. I don't take everything. You can't just take, your body for granted. You have to be comfortable with the body you have, and not necessarily the body you dreamed of or want necessarily. You have to, because my mom has to learn how to grow and live in the body she has, not the body she's idealized as a kid, which would be a perfect dance body. Or even for myself, I have to take, and I have to understand my body and know that there are limits to your body, and you have to understand and respect your body.
And having this sort of perspective, which most, dancers don't have.
Yeah.
When you look and you say, oh, I wish I had this. We were talking about your feet and trying to make your feet better.
Yeah.
Does it hit you as hard? Is it as a grave thing? Because you hear people, oh, my hips are so big, or da-da-da-da, like at the school.
Right.
Because
everyone is so, worried and anxious about everything.
Or you just feel like, okay, could I make it better? But it is what it is.
As a dancer, you have to be on top of your body. So in a way, it's the same, but in the grander scheme of it, it's very different. When I'm sick or outside of dance, it's most different. But at the same time, I do realize as a dancer, you have to work hard to make your body better. But there are the limits.
I mean, it's sort of like what I was talking to your mother about, the idea that whatever state you're in, you're really in that state. But there's always another state you can be in that will make where you are completely unimportant in a moment.
Right.